What you're hearing now is Sweden from Minecraft Volume Alpha. This album unintentionally was one of my most listened to soundtracks from my childhood. Best part is, I hardly ever noticed it was there. From 2011 to 2016, my main listening experience for music was that soundtrack. The main reason being I played Minecraft a lot. C418 has made possibly one of the best video game soundtracks of all time, and for many people, it is an iconic part of their childhood. But before I get all sappy on you, let's talk music. Minecraft's soundtrack was produced by Daniel Rosen. He met Notch, the creator of Minecraft, on a small website called TigSource, a forum for indie game developers. While Daniel had only scored one small game called Circles in 2008, he also had a handful of experimental albums on Bandcamp, which were fine but not very popular. Armed with inspiration, Daniel set out to produce Minecraft soundtracks and sound effects, which turned out to be more of a technical challenge than an artistic one. The Minecraft sound engine was extremely primitive. It could only handle a few sounds looping at a time without crashing, and only 20 sound channels. To add to the challenge, Minecraft's engine at the time couldn't assign sound values for different objects in the world. For example, if we have Steve on the other side of a wall from a zombie, the noise from the zombie won't be obstructed by the blocks because Notch can't assign a sound value to that object. Additionally, due to the nature of Minecraft's gameplay, Daniel had to throw away tons of songs and ideas. Early on, he wanted to create ambient music for whatever biome the player was in, caves, desert forests, etc. But he quickly found while playing the game that players moved too quickly through biomes, and the ambient music was anything but jarring. He had also included music for fighting mobs, but Minecraft fights are very quick and have intense fight songs, and having intense fight songs for 10-20 second fights didn't make much sense. Well, at first Daniel and Notch were worried that the game would sound empty. These technical limitations ended up working in the game's favor, leading to the open and calming melodies we know today. Now, let's talk about Daniel's process for making the music of the game. His main inspirations for the music were Aphex Twin, a late 90s electronic group. As well to this were some other games like Dwarf Fortress. After listening to the soundtracks to Dwarf Fortress and Aphex Twin, it is clear to see the resemblance to Minecraft's soundtrack. The entire soundtrack was produced in Ableton Live, which he stated was so easy to use, even an idiot could use it. However, I use FL Studio, so okay. He used, in the process, the instruments he used was a Moog Voyager, Dave Smith Prophet 08, and a Virus TI. These are all types of synthesizers. He used these sounds to create the soundtrack for the lonely, quiet game. When you look at Minecraft, you would expect to hear chiptune or upbeat music. However, Daniel went with the long and slow melodic instrumental patterns instead. In an interview with Polygon, he said, "I like video game soundtracks that take you by surprise." Now at the time, Minecraft was in its alpha stage, and it was a very basic compared to today. No multiplayer, no fancy lighting, no hunger bar, no redstone. It was just the player exploring the world by themselves. When Daniel realized the game he was programming for, the solitary piano chords ended up feeling more poignant. Of course, Minecraft still holds the essence of loneliness it did then, but back then you can truly see why Daniel decided to focus on repetitive atmospheric tunes, because that's all the game was. Now, let's look into the music theory behind Minecraft's sentimental and melancholy sound. The theory behind most of the songs is pretty basics, but for now I'll be focusing on Wet Hands, my third favorite Minecraft song. The reason Wet Hand works so well for Minecraft is because of harmonic ambiguity. Harmonic ambiguity is when the key of a song floats around ambiguously through different chords. The song, Wet Hands, is written in A major, which isn't very special. What is special is the way it goes from chord to chord within the scale. This causes the listener's emotions to feel more amplified in the moment. You could feel happy, sad, scared, almost any emotion, and still understand the song. To add to the flexibility, the rising and falling arpeggios leave a predictable sound for your brain to recognize it, further making it easier to adjust the song to your vibe or however you're feeling really. One chord that sticks out to me in particular is A flat major 7. This chord is very powerful in conveying somberness and melancholy. However, it's still major, so it can still feel like a lift, but more like akin to a soft pillow. Conclusion. While revisiting the Minecraft soundtrack, dissecting it as a piece of music, and learning more about C418's production, and even visiting all worlds for the speech and inspiration, I would collectively say that we took the Minecraft soundtrack for granted. I would like to tell you guys a story of my experience looking back at my old Minecraft worlds. I decided to do it at my old MacBook Pro. I haven't touched it in years, but back in the day it was my main way of playing. I used to get up early in the morning and Skype with friends. We used to always play survival games, a popular minigame version of the Hunger Games. Basically think of it as the OG Battle Royale. We played plenty of other minigames and game modes too, but those are just the main ones we used to do. However, for me the true core of this dumb blocky game is survival. I decided to load into one of my old survival worlds with my cousin that I did with my cousin and friends who I haven't spoken to in years, except for my cousin. I still talk to him regularly. The spawn was a dilapidated mess on a beach. Houses scattered and exploded. A floating mob generator, which never seemed to work, but I think I got the second one working. And a huge chicken farm. One of my friends at the time loved chickens, so he would make a chicken farm which essentially killed my crappy Mac. It just lagged it out. Walking further, I found the remains of a diamond house, which I'm sure we used treats to get. Probably me. To the left was my cousin's house, which me and him lived together in. I remember I used to always design the houses. He would always mine and gather resources. We were a great team. As I walked through the house, I found a painting on the corner of a wall, and if you play Minecraft, you know what that means. There's a room behind there. And sure enough, there was a hidden room behind it. The small room contained a minecart system that went on and on. Behind it, the thing on and on behind it. That thing was the magnum opus of our world. It wasn't particularly special. It just kind of randomly rode around the world and toured our various mineshafts and builds. I'd completely forgot about it, and of course decided to give it a ride. The minecart was decidedly simple as I had thought, but in simplicity I was taken back to the kid I was. Slowly in the background, the song Subwoofer Lullaby started to play. I started to tear up, but they weren't tears of joy, nor tears of sadness, but tears of simpler times. Remembering when life was easier, and the only thing I had to worry about was whether I could sleep over at my friend's house and pray that they had good snacks for our long nights playing Minecraft, essentially. There was no stress over college, jobs, sex, relationships, or needing to get this assignment done. But through this emotional moment, I came to see the young man I'm becoming. I was disappointed yet optimistic for the future. I appreciated the moment and was truly engrossed in the game I was playing. Then the song started to fade. That's when I realized that no matter how much the game changes, the music never does. And it isn't truly Minecraft until these songs start to play. Although Minecraft is just strings of code to make a dumb blocky world where you control your friends and build half-broken houses. To me, it's more than that. It was a creative outsource, a place to go on adventures, and a large part of my formative years and what made me who I am today. When writing this speech, I listened to the volume off the soundtrack a handful of times. Now instead of hearing just music, I hear my past, but also a large optimistic future ahead of me. Thank you very much.